How the hell did somebody get away with a fucking Bobcat, man?
I am always honored to be with our partners at ULI. A tremendous part of who we are as a state is really the real estate community, and we will talk more about that. And I get to hang out with my dear friend and more stylish brother, Kevin Johnson, and I'm happy to do it in the Ross School of Business, which is the alma mater of a dear friend of mine who's no longer with us. So it brings back memories. So I think it may be helpful for some of the folks in the audience who haven't necessarily worked with our organizations, maybe to kind of explain how we interact, and then maybe talk a little bit about some of the what must be truths. Because I think a lot of times people interact with government, they're frustrated because we have to do a better job of making it transparent about what I call the what must be truths. I actually can't take credit for that phrase. It's Tejas Kahari, who's a partner at PCG in their Chicago office, always says that. Make sure people understand the what must be truths in order to have a successful engagement. So maybe we can go there, but if you want to start by talking a little bit about the Economic Growth Corporation, how they engage with MEDC, but I think maybe even more interesting is just, you've seen it all. You were in South Carolina, you were in Georgia, in Arizona. If you want to talk a little bit maybe about your bio, that may be helpful.
So there are several different types of abatements that are available. You have abatements that are geared towards helping to support neighborhood development. There are tax abatements that businesses who are moving to the city can take advantage of, or that are in the city and expanding can take advantage of. And then there's brownfield tax incremental finance, which is a tool that's used for developers to help alleviate some of the cost of cleaning up contaminated and blighted properties. And then there are tax incentives that are available to homeowners within the city. And so I kind of just want to go through exactly what happens when a developer is awarded a tax abatement. And so let me reduce this. Perfect. All right, so once a developer goes through the process of getting an actual tax abatement, meaning that the Planning and Economic Development Committee of the City of Detroit has approved it, the Council of the Whole has approved it, what they're getting is actually that their taxes are going to be reduced by a certain percentage for a specific amount of time, and that amount of time depends on the type of tax incentive that's given. And the developer signs off on a legally binding agreement between the City of Detroit and their entity. And then if the developer's project requires like environmental cleanup, they will receive a brownfield tip to help clean up the site, and the applicant pays for those costs upfront, and then they're reimbursed over a specific amount of time for the costs that are eligible through the brownfield.
Couple last minute words of advice. Let's see how this goes. Go happy hands.
right there too.
Oh yeah, be perfect. Oh yeah.
How the hell did somebody get away with a fucking Bobcat, man?
And then bring it next door.
Yeah.
I don't see any tire tracks.
If it's not down this alley, I don't see. You got a good point. I don't see any tire tracks.
Because, well, I mean, you might not see it if it's going straight, but you see it when it turns.
Yeah.
For sure. If it's on concrete like this, you will see it.
You know what time it was? Like 10:30 or so?
The lady said, yeah, 10 o'clock, like 10 to 11. But the GPS said the last time it pinged, they said it was like 8.
8 at night?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. 8 at night. 8 p.m., yeah.
Okay. It pings every time it turns on.
I'm assuming. That's my hypothesis, I'm guessing. that it only cuts on when it's actively on. Because that means if it's getting the signal, it's getting it from the radio that's inside of it.
How you doing? I'm the developer that's developing the project down the street. Somebody actually stole a Bobcat last night. I know you have a camera here. Is it possible that we could see some of the...
My dad really?
Yeah.
I mean, they have to basically be in our profession, and they have the key to turn it on.
They be stealing out of here too, so don't.
Yeah. All right, well, we appreciate it now.
Yeah, no problem.
As you can see, it looks a little different. We ended up having to take down more of the wall. The engineer came out and stated that the wall was not stable enough for us to be able to go vertical the way we wanted to. But as you can see, the overall site looks a little different than what I showed you last week. Most of the foundation has been ripped up and I am walking on dirt. We still have a little bit to clean up. We do have an event coming up next week. I'll share more of that with you in the next episode, but it's been a pretty interesting week, to be honest. Somebody literally came by 8 o'clock last night, busted open the fence, and drove off with a Bobcat. Unbelievable. You have these $60,000 pieces of equipment, and you have criminals that know how to steal them. But it is unbelievable that somebody was able to drive off with a Bobcat from the site. Fun times. And so that is it for this week's episode of Flux City Weekly. Please like, subscribe, and tune in for more updates as we are just getting started. Have a good day.